Celtics Game Highlight is presented by T-Mobile.
Westbrook. Ball got blocked, loose by Horford. Opportunity. Tatum takes it in for the jam. Schroeder gets into it quickly. Tatum, open look. He banks it in for three.
Russell Westbrook right now.
Tatum, heat check. Oh, yeah! Jayson Tatum. Celtics up by 5, just past the midway point. First. Oh, big finish. And it's starting to really work. Davis rejected by Williams and a jump ball. Goes way outside. Tucker using the Howard screen. Bully ball denied. And it's Robert Williams. Step back Jay. Bradley short. Rebound knocked in the air. Anthony, no hesitation. Snagged it. 6th turnover of the night for Boston. By the open man, Bradley. With Tatum.
Yeah, he would be the matchup on Tatum.
Smart, deep 3. Offensive board. Tatum. Oh, slammed down hard. Robert Williams rocks the rim.
And then Anthony Davis using his size around the rim and
look
turn
out
over there.
Tucker up the floor for Westbrook. And there it is. A 3-ball from Russell Westbrook. The Celtics have seen enough.
The way he defends and as tough as he is, if he can shoot anywhere near those numbers.
Russell Westbrook. Beast mode. Chance at the rim instead. Trying to pass it out. James went for the steal. It is Tatum. The throwdown to play. Tatum launches, connects, a 3. 102-87. Tatum goes behind the back. That extra move, that is sweet from Jayson.
This year, but I know when LeBron was in Cleveland, trying to coach against them.
See if there's a succession plan here. There is.
T-Mobile, the leader in 5G.
Welcome into Celtics Post-Game Live, presented by your New England Ford dealers. Chris Forsberg, Amina Smith here with you. And the Celtics dropped this one to the Lakers, 117-102. And at one point, Forsberg, this was a close game. They were going back and forth. What happened in this matchup?
So I thought the Celtics came out flat defensively, and Tatum hit those shots early. It felt like they got a little too complacent, and all of a sudden they never were able to turn the Lakers off once they got going, especially in that third quarter when Russell Westbrook took over the game. And, I don't know what to tell you here. We all got excited about the offense the last 2 nights. It really stagnated at times, and worse yet, their defense, for whatever reason, just hasn't been the same level of execution on this trip, and it came back to bite them on a night they let the Lakers start feeling good about themselves. And it's too bad because the Celtics had a ton of energy early. I thought there was a lot of good things, including the first 14 points by Tatum. But from there, it was pretty much the wheels came off, and now you're looking at a 1-2 start to this road trip and the 2 probably toughest games ahead against 2 very good defenses.
The Lakers, they had a lead of 5 going into the half, and then in that third quarter, they had a lead as large as 20 points. Forsberg, how did the Celtics let this one get away in the second half?
Again, we sat here at halftime and we said they just need to kind of pick up the defense a little bit. They felt like the Lakers were making tough shots. Instead, they just let them get a parade to the paint, and the number is just jarring that the most paint points allowed by the Celtics this season, whether it was AD spinning his way there or Russell Westbrook just kind of fighting his way there and dominating from there, and then gets himself going. All of a sudden, he can make the outside shot. But these were the killers where he just muscled his way to the basket, and the Celtics, for whatever reason, just had no answer once he got going. And it's maddening because, again, the start of the game, they just said, let Russell Westbrook fire away. When it mattered most, they couldn't lock him down.
Yeah, 66 points allowed in the paint by the Celtics. And really, defense is the identity of this Celtics team. Defensively, how did they fall short tonight?
This is my fear, is that you start having a couple good offensive games and you're like, all right, you don't need to dig in quite as much on the defensive side. The Celtics, really from when they started turning around their season, straight up until this last stretch, really had to play great defense every night to have a chance to win. But then you go out and you score 130, and then you get 145, and you're thinking, all right, maybe things have turned a corner. And you let off the gas just a little bit. And the Lakers, as flawed as they are, still have a whole bunch of offensive talent. And guys like Westbrook, if you let them get going, can turn back the clock for at least one night and make you pay. And so the Celtics, a valuable lesson here where, again, if defense is going to be your identity, you got to lean into it every night. And I keep saying this, like, they have the talent, but they have to be committed every single night. And for whatever reason, even with 2 days off before this game, for the chance to really kind of be fresh and locked in, they absolutely did not have it.
And we talked about that Lakers defense and Celtics pregame live about how it was non-existent in 16 in the league, 16th ranked in the league. However, they kind of showed up tonight. I mean, Forsberg, when you take a look at that Lakers defense, how big of a challenge does that present for the Celtics?
Yeah, so the thing I keep walking away with, especially in the first half, once Tatum, they started kind of committing to doubling him, he didn't have a whole lot of weapons to pass it to. And we knew this, it's not like any secret, the Celtics don't have a lot of shooters out there. And the Lakers pretty much challenged them to beat them from the perimeter when they weren't getting those lobs to Rob and they weren't getting Tatum to make those step backs. All of a sudden, the offense grinded to a halt. And so it's just, again, it's a hard lesson here for the Celtics to learn that, you know, they've got to just be better. Like, it starts defensively, getting transition opportunities, points off turnovers, however you can manufacture points, because you're just not good enough with the roster they have right now, especially without Jaylen Brown, to be able to manufacture points in the half-court offense. And so I think, look, if the Celtics do ultimately emerge as a contender, Brad Stevens has to infuse some more shooting on this roster at some point. It's just not enough right now based on who you've got at that probably top 8, 9 spots. So if all of a sudden Grant Williams is having a cold night, it's really hard for this team to score points.
And that Lakers big three, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook combined for 71 points. Ooh. You see the numbers right there. Westbrook dropped 24. LeBron James dropped 30. You have AD with 17. Also 16 rebounds. 16 rebounds for Anthony Davis. You know, Forsberg, just how were the Celtics not able to slow them down?
Well, first off, there was 16 rebounds out there for Anthony Davis because the Celtics couldn't make any shots for long stretches here. And the unforgivable number to me is Russell Westbrook, 24 points on 9 of 16 shooting. He probably missed 7 3-pointers in the first 3 minutes of the game, and they were challenging him to shoot, and he should have had no confidence. But Russell Westbrook is an irrational player who just thinks he's going to be able to take over, and if you allow him to, he will, and that is what happened. So, I thought AD and LeBron would both have to be great for the Lakers to win this game, especially the way the Celtics have been playing recently. Instead, like, the Celtics just fell apart, and you allow someone like Westbrook to take over the game. And in that, I go back to it, that third quarter, I just don't understand how you come out of halftime where you've got to be saying to yourself, we got to ratchet up the defense, and they're just completely unable to do it. Just really just bullying his way. Like, even on that one, he just gets kind of the carry dribble through, and then there's no one on the back line. They lost them on cuts, then the little pocket pass there. And I say it, someone gets hot, all of a sudden, step back 3-pointers for Russ, even if he's shooting from a terrible for the season back there, they start falling. So Celtics were out of position. Even my guy Rob, I have to admit, could have been in a better help position on a couple of those drives. And once he got going, the game was over.
How much might, we saw in the first half, the Celtics, they kind of let Russell Westbrook shoot the three. How much might they have just kind of taken, their foot off the gas on him? Maybe a bit too much in that first half.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you're okay if you would let him be shooting threes. But like once they started letting him get ahead of steam and drive, and he shoots 50% on drives this season, and now and then all of a sudden LeBron added in. I thought LeBron dominated the first half. He really got them back into that game. Just running pick and rolls, drawing attention, and either hitting tough shots like that, fadeaways. Or creating for others. And he helped get Russell Westbrook going there late in the first half by catching him on a couple cuts. And you just see, every time the Lakers drove, the Celtics just weren't either in position or sent too much help or just were not solid the way they've been in recent weeks. And every single time LeBron made them pay or Russell Westbrook made them pay, it's just not a good enough level of defense to play against a team with this much offensive talent.
And Anthony Davis, 17 points, 16 rebounds, and you talk about, the Celtics not landing those shots, and that's the reason why he got all of those rebounds. What did you see from Anthony Davis?
Yeah, not an overly dominant performance. You think about it, the first matchup he had 31 points, and we all know what he is capable of doing. He's certainly been in a shooting slump this season. 7 of 13 is probably on the better side of what he's been putting up lately in terms of efficiency. But, you know, I felt like they did a fair job on him, lost him a couple times, let him get to the basket. You know, he was able to the one thing the Celtics have run into is when Rob and Al are out there, they sometimes have issues with making sure that, you know, one guy's doing the help, one guy's cracking back, and they lost Anthony Davis a few times, or they lost a cutter, and so you just got to be more crisp. Again, if defense is going to be your calling card, it has to be better than what we saw in every asset, and we saw when teams like the Lakers that have so many potential weapons, the Celtics just didn't have enough ways to hose them down.
Yeah, coming into this matchup, I really thought the Celtics would, you know, very much compete the entire game, but they only really competed for that first half. All right, let's take a break right here. See that final score, 117-102 out in LA.